That I'm sorry.
What about if I do?
This is a dining room, spare bedroom. This is a living room.
Since its debut in 2020, 1000 Delby Sisters has pulled back the curtain on the raw, unfiltered, and often deeply emotional lives of Kentucky-born siblings Tammy Slaton and Amy Slaton, whose intertwined journeys of extreme weight loss, family, drama, and personal reinvention have fascinated audiences worldwide. But now, whispers are growing louder that Tammy may be stepping into a new kind of spotlight, entirely one that hints at a solo spin-off, marking perhaps the most significant shift in the show's trajectory since its inception. A change born not just from her physical transformation, but from a deeper and more personal evolution that may be leading her to redefine herself entirely, outside the shadow of her sister and their sometimes turbulent family dynamic. Tammy's story has always been one of extreme health struggles, extreme triumphs, extreme setbacks, and it was only a few years ago that her obesity became so life-threatening she was placed in a medically induced coma. A moment that seemed to teeter on the edge of tragedy, yet ultimately became a catalyst for the most dramatic health transformation reality television has ever documented, as she went on to undergo bariatric surgery in 2022, beginning a rigorous and highly disciplined weight loss journey that by 2024 would see her shed an astonishing 500 pounds, arriving at a weight of 225 pounds, a milestone few, even among her most devoted fans, could have imagined possible given her earlier condition. Her metamorphosis did not stop there, as Season 7 brought yet another milestone when Tammy underwent an 8-hour skin removal surgery at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, a grueling procedure that eliminated over 15 pounds of excess skin from her chin, arms, and lower stomach, leaving her both physically lighter and emotionally unburdened. As she described the results as life-changing, despite the understandable fear she had before going under the knife. Yet Tammy's transformation is not merely physical, it is also personal, as her openness about her private life, including her marriage to Caleb Willingham in November 2022 and the heartbreak of their divorce in 2023, shortly before his passing, has shown viewers a more vulnerable and introspective side to her, revealing a woman who has weathered loss, health crises, and public scrutiny, and emerged with a determination to take control of her own narrative, perhaps even away from the established framework of 1000 Delby Sisters. Tensions within the family have long been a recurring undercurrent in the series. But in Season 6, these tensions erupted in a particularly dramatic fashion when Tammy clashed with her sister Amanda Halterman. An argument so severe that Tammy was kicked out of the house owned by Amanda and her ex-husband, prompting her to declare with an unshakable finality, "Amanda is dead to me." A statement that underscored how deeply she felt betrayed and disrespected. Tammy explained she no longer wanted Amanda to call or text her, asserting that she could do better without Amanda's help. And this emotional rupture appears to have pushed Tammy closer to a life-altering decision, moving out of Kentucky altogether, a move she framed as necessary to escape the emotional strain of her family's ongoing drama, and one that she hinted could be permanent. While the Slaton family originally hails from Indiana, Kentucky has been their home and the backdrop for the show's filming for years, making Tammy's public acknowledgement of her desire to leave the first time she has openly suggested physically separating herself from her family's orbit, and perhaps even from the production format that has defined her public image for half a decade. For fans, the implications are intriguing. 1000 Delby Sisters thrives on the chemistry, conflicts, and shared experiences of Tammy and Amy, with Kentucky as the unspoken third character in their story. But if Tammy were to relocate and chart her own path, the series could face a radical shift, or even splinter into a spin-off centered entirely on Tammy's post-weight loss life, exploring her recovery, her new mobility, her emotional growth, and the independence she has long craved. The potential for such a series is enormous, as it could dive deeper into the everyday transformations often overshadowed by the bigger medical milestones, things like Tammy shopping for new clothes without restriction, walking into restaurants without fear of seating limitations, fitting into airplane seats and traveling to places she had only dreamed of visiting, or exploring dating again after years of feeling physically and emotionally limited. For a long time, viewers, these smaller but no less profound changes could be just as compelling as the surgeries and the weigh-ins, offering an intimate portrait of a woman rebuilding her life piece by piece. And yet, while Tammy's trajectory has been sharply upward in terms of health and confidence, her relationship with Amy has been a more complicated and sometimes strained subplot in recent seasons, particularly as Tammy's rapid progress and major surgeries have coincided with a period in Amy's life where her own focus seems to have shifted away from their shared health goals and more toward her personal life, including her new relationship with Brian Scott Laverne. Some viewers have read Amy's behavior during Tammy's skin removal surgery as an indicator of underlying jealousy, noting that instead of showing deep emotional support for her sister's major operation, Amy appeared more preoccupied with her upcoming wedding, leading fans to accuse her of selfishness and of failing to appreciate the magnitude of Tammy's achievement. These perceived slights, coupled with the physical and emotional distance that often comes with major life changes, have fueled speculation that the sisters may be drifting apart, and in the occasional squabble sense that has long been part of their on-screen dynamic, but in a more fundamental, potentially permanent way that could lead to Amy stepping back from the show altogether. If that happens, Tammy's solo spin-off potential becomes even stronger, not just because it would allow her to control her own story, but because it could give her a platform free from the undercurrents of sibling rivalry and family politics, enabling her to highlight her newfound abilities, her personal interests, and perhaps even ventures into advocacy or business, areas she could not fully explore while bound to the ensemble nature of 1000 Delby Sisters. She could use such a platform to inspire others struggling with obesity or chronic illness, sharing the realities of life after extreme weight loss, including the less glamorous aspects like ongoing dietary discipline, skincare, post-surgery, and the psychological adjustment to living in a body that feels entirely different from the one she inhabited for decades. And in doing so, she might finally achieve the balance of independence and public connection she has sought for so long, proving that her story, though once defined by immobility, hospital stays, and near-death moments, can evolve into one defined by movement, travel, self-discovery, and perhaps most importantly, peace. Of course, for all the speculation and hope surrounding Tammy's next chapter, there remains the reality that her journey is still ongoing, and the personal challenges she has faced: family estrangement, grief, and the daunting task of maintaining such a dramatic weight loss will not vanish overnight, but the possibility of seeing her tackle them in a new environment on her own terms is a narrative shift that could re-energize both her career and her audience's engagement, turning what began as a story of survival into one of reinvention and autonomy.
And all right, you ready?
How many points?
9,900.
Can we add our points together as
No.
one? Because we're a family, you know.
Since its debut in 2020, 1000 Delby Sisters has pulled viewers deep into the lives of Tammy and Amy Slaton, sisters from Dixon, Kentucky, whose health battles, family drama, and personal reinventions have become one of the most gripping reality TV arcs of the past decade. And now, with Tammy's remarkable weight loss transformation, whispers are growing louder that she may be preparing to step into a new kind of spotlight. One that doesn't just share space with her sister, but centers entirely on her own journey. Perhaps in the form of a solo spin-off series that could redefine how fans see her. Tammy's rise from the brink of death to a vibrant new chapter has been nothing short of astounding, given that not long ago her obesity was so critical she was placed in a medically induced coma. A moment that seemed like it might be the tragic end of her story, but instead became the turning point. leading to bariatric surgery in 2022 and the disciplined, painful, and ultimately triumphant shedding of over 500 pounds, bringing her down to 225 pounds by 2024, a feat many thought impossible. Her journey then reached another milestone during season 7, when she underwent an A-Tower skin removal surgery at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, removing over 15 pounds of excess skin from her chin, arms, and lower stomach, leaving her physically lighter, more mobile, and emotionally renewed. As she described the results as life-changing despite initial fears about the procedure. Yet her transformation has not been purely physical. Tammy has been open about her marriage to Caleb Willingham in November 2022. The emotional toll of their divorce in 2023. And the grief that followed his passing later that year. Experiences that revealed the raw vulnerability beneath her often tough on-screen persona. This willingness to share both triumphs and heartbreak has made her relatable to fans, but also set the stage for a possible narrative shift away from the family dynamics that have long defined the show. Dynamics that turned volatile in season 6 when a heated clash with her sister Amanda Halterman escalated to the point where Tammy was kicked out of Amanda's house, leading Tammy to declare, "Amanda is dead to me," and cut off all contact. This rupture deepened her desire to leave Kentucky, which she voiced publicly for the first time, framing it not just as a change of scenery, but as a necessary separation from the emotional strain of her family and hinting at a possible full break from the established setting of 1000 Delby Sisters, which has always revolved around the Slaton sisters' shared home turf. Moving away could symbolize a deeper quest for independence, one that might take shape in a spin-off exploring her new life, post-surgery recovery, and day-to-day challenges and victories without the constant backdrop of family feuds. Sacha series could shift the focus from the drama-heavy family narrative to the quieter, more personal victories, shopping for clothes with outsized limitations, walking into public spaces without fear of judgment, fitting into an airline seat, and traveling to places she once only dreamed of, even embracing dating again with a newfound sense of self-worth. This change would also distance Tammy from the increasingly strained relationship with Amy, which has sparked fan debate in recent seasons, particularly after some perceived Amy's reaction to Tammy's skin removal surgery as detached, with her attention seemingly more fixed on her own upcoming wedding than on her sister's major medical milestone, leading to accusations of selfishness and jealousy. For many, this dynamic signals a deeper drift between the sisters, one that could eventually see Amy leaving the show altogether, a move that would dramatically alter its tone and focus. If Amy does step back, Tammy's journey could be reframed, not just as one of survival, but of reinvention, giving her space to highlight the people who have truly supported her friends like Haley, Michelle, and Paula Roman, whose presence in her post-surgery life has brought genuine positivity, whether through shared road trips, celebrations, or quiet, encouraging moments that contrast sharply with the tension and conflict of her family relationships. These friendships offer a glimpse of a Tammy unburdened by old patterns, and fans have been vocal about wanting more of these uplifting connections on screen, suggesting that incorporating her friends more fully into her story could infuse it with a supportive, powering energy that's been missing. In her personal life, Tammy has also embarked on a new chapter in love, beginning a relationship with Andrea Dalton in 2023 after Caleb's death. A romance that began on a dating app and slowly grew from a private connection into a public part of her life with Tammy, who came out as pansexual in 2021, revealing that Caleb's passing initially made her reconsider dating men, but ultimately leading her to embrace Andrea as a partner who supports her emotionally and understands her journey. Season 7 has already given glimpses into their bond, from casual dates to family introductions, and Tammy has even hinted at an engagement, sending waves of excitement through her fan base. A spin-off centering on Tammy and Andrea could blend romance, resilience, and personal growth, showing how they navigate life's ups and downs together. how Andrea supports Tammy in maintaining her health, and how Tammy explores her new independence and mobility in the context of a loving partnership. Beyond the emotional content, Tammy's story has huge potential as an inspirational platform, showcasing not just the headline-grabbing numbers of her weight loss, but the reality of maintaining such a transformation: meal planning, ongoing physical therapy, mental health care, and adjusting to life in a body that feels entirely different from the one she lived in for decades. It could also delve into the emotional complexities of leaving behind a family environment that, while formative, has often been a source of stress and self-doubt, exploring what it means to rebuild one's identity outside of those familiar but fraught dynamics. While the family drama on 1000 LB Sisters has long been part of its appeal, for many fans, it has also become a point of fatigue, with constant arguments overshadowing moments of real progress, making Tammy's positive changes harder to fully appreciate on screen. A solo spin-off would strip away much of that noise, replacing it with a narrative that's still real and challenging, but framed through the lens of growth rather than conflict. In this way, Tammy could emerge not just as a reality TV survivor, but as a self-made success story, living proof that even from the lowest point hospital beds, oxygen tubes, and moments where life itself hung in the balance, a person can rebuild, reshape, and reclaim their life entirely on their own terms. And if that's not a story worth its own series, it's hard to imagine what is.
Taken aback by it, to be honest. It really surprised me. I don't care who you end up with. I don't care if you find a person that's got both body parts.
Right.
Or no body parts at all.
Since its debut in 2020, 1000 LB Sisters has taken viewers on an emotional, raw, and at times chaotic journey through the lives of Tammy and Amy Slaton, two sisters from Dixon, Kentucky, whose struggles with extreme obesity, complicated family relationships, and personal reinvention have made them unlikely but compelling reality television icons. And now, more than 5 years later, Tammy's story in particular has evolved so dramatically that fans and industry watchers alike are convinced she's on the verge of stepping into a new kind of spotlight, one entirely her own, potentially in the form of a dedicated spin-off series that could chart her life after her extraordinary weight loss, her evolving relationships, her emotional growth, and her aspirations for the future. At her lowest point, Tammy's life seemed to be hanging by a thread. She weighed over 700 pounds, relied on oxygen, struggled to walk even a few steps, and faced life-threatening conditions that culminated in a medically induced coma caused by carbon dioxide poisoning. An event that could easily have been the tragic end of her story, yet instead became the catalyst for a transformation that has since been hailed as one of the most remarkable in reality television history. Her turning point began with a commitment to a rehab program, followed by bariatric surgery in 2022, and the disciplined adoption of a healthier lifestyle that would see her shed over 500 pounds, eventually reaching 225 pounds by mid-2025, a number almost unimaginable. When viewers think back to the Tammy of the early seasons, confined by her own body and battling a cycle of depression and self-destructive habits, the physical change alone was headline-worthy. But it was her January 2025 skin removal surgery, a grueling 8-hour operation at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center that eliminated over 15 pounds of excess skin from her chin, arms, and stomach that became the grand reveal moment for fans, a symbolic shedding of the past as much as a physical one. And the joy and confidence radiating from Tammy in the aftermath proved just how far she had come. Yet, the journey is far from over. She has hinted at possibly undergoing another skin removal procedure, continues to work on her fitness, and is focused on building a sustainable routine that will keep her from slipping back into old habits. A task made all the more challenging by the ongoing family drama that has often threatened to overshadow her achievements. Over the years, Tammy's relationship with her sister Amy has evolved in ways that have both warmed and frustrated viewers. And while they began this journey together as a united front against the health and personal struggles they faced, life has taken them down increasingly separate paths, especially as Amy has navigated the challenges of single motherhood and divorce. While Tammy has explored new independence, a renewed social life, and career possibilities she once never dared dream, UFG even half-joked in interviews about becoming a model now that she feels comfortable and confident in her own skin. Yet the dynamic between them has also grown strained at times, with Season 7 highlighting moments where Amy's support seemed muted, leading to speculation about jealousy, especially during Tammy's surgery milestone, when Amy's focus appeared to be more on her upcoming wedding than on her sister's life-changing operation. Add to that the constant negativity and repetitive conflicts within the wider Slaton family, which many fans feel have weighed heavily on Tammy's mental and emotional health. And it's no surprise that she has openly expressed a desire to leave Kentucky altogether, framing it not just as a relocation, but as a necessary step to distance herself from the cycles of argument and tension that have played out both on and off camera. It's here that the idea of a Tammy-focused spin-off becomes more than just wishful thinking. It becomes a logical next chapter, one that could strip away the noise and put the spotlight squarely on her ongoing transformation, the everyday realities of living in her new body, and the people who are genuinely rooting for her success. Her friends, such as Haley, Michelle, and Paul,